Genesis chapter 20 verse 1. And Abraham journeyed from thence toward the south country, and dwelled between Kadesh and Shur, and sojourned in Gerar. Genesis chapter 20 verse 2. And Abraham said of Sarah his wife, She is my sister. And Abimelech king of Gerar sent, and took Sarah. Genesis chapter 20 verse 3. But God came to Abimelech in a dream by night, and said to him, Behold, thou art but a dead man, for the woman which thou hast taken. For she is a man's wife. Genesis chapter 20 verse 4. But Abimelech had not come near her. And he said, Lord, wilt thou slay also a righteous nation? Genesis chapter 20 verse 5. Said he not unto me, She is my sister? And she, even she herself said, He is my brother, in the integrity of my heart and innocency of my hands have I done this. Genesis chapter 20 verse 6. And God said unto him in a dream, Yea, I know that thou didst this in the integrity of thy heart, for I also withheld thee from sinning against me, therefore suffered I thee not to touch her. Genesis chapter 20 verse 7. Now therefore restore the man his wife, for he is a prophet, and he shall pray for thee, and thou shalt live. And if thou restore her not, know thou that thou shalt surely die, thou, and all that are thine. Genesis chapter 20 verse 8. Therefore Abimelech rose early in the morning, and called all his servants, and told all these things in their ears, and the men were sore afraid. Genesis chapter 20 verse 9. Then Abimelech called Abraham, and said unto him, What hast thou done unto us? And what have I offended thee, that thou hast brought on me and on my kingdom a great sin? Thou hast done deeds unto me that ought not to be done. Genesis chapter 20 verse 10. And Abimelech said unto Abraham, What west thou, that thou hast done this thing? Genesis chapter 20 verse 11. And Abraham said, Because I thought, surely the fear of God is not in this place, and they will slay me for my wife's sake. Genesis chapter 20 verse 12. And yet indeed she is my sister, she is the daughter of my father, but not the daughter of my mother, and she became my wife. Genesis chapter 20 verse 13. And it came to pass, when God caused me to wander from my father's house, that I said unto her, This is thy kindness which thou shalt show unto me. At every place whither we shall come, say of me, He is my brother. Genesis chapter 20 verse 14. And Abimelech took sheep, and oxen, and menservants, and womanservants, and gave them unto Abraham, and restored him Sarah his wife. Genesis chapter 20 verse 15. And Abimelech said, Behold, my land is before thee, dwell where it pleaseth thee. Genesis chapter 20 verse 16. And unto Sarah he said, Behold, I have given thy brother 1,000 pieces of silver. Behold, he is to thee a covering of the eyes, unto all that are with thee, and with all other. Thus she was reproved. Genesis chapter 20 verse 17. So Abraham prayed unto God, and God healed Abimelech, and his wife, and his maidservants, and they bare children. Genesis chapter 20 verse 18. For the Lord had fast closed up all the wombs of the house of Abimelech, because of Sarah Abraham's wife.